welcome back to the McDonald Chronicles. Today we're going to talk all about my February wrap up, so all the books that I read in February. I had pretty lofty goals at the beginning of February, 10 books total I put on my TBR. So let's see how I did, if I was able to read those 10 books and which ones I liked and which ones I didn't like. Alright, so totaling end of month February, I read 5 books, 4 physical ones, and then 1 from Kindle Unlimited. So definitely didn't meet my February TBR of 10. This month was kind of a mess for reading, to be honest with you. I read the 5 books, like I said, and then I'm also in the middle of like half a dozen. So I was just kind of all over the place. I think 10 books on my TBR is way too many. Towards the end of the month, I started to panic and then basically just read a bunch of the beginnings of different books. So now it's the beginning of March and I have to finish all the books that I started. So definitely won't be doing 10 in the future, but let's talk about the 5 books that I did read. All right, so first up is Murder in the Family. If you watched my spoiler video of this one where I tried to solve the end, then you're pretty familiar with how I felt about this book. So if you want a more detailed description of that, go ahead and check out that video. I'll link it below. Basically, this book is about a group of people who are filming a documentary trying to solve the murder of Luke Ryder. So he was murdered in a posh London town 20 years prior, and his stepson wants to know what happened. Murder was never solved. He was basically just found in his yard dead by blunt force trauma, and no one was able to figure out 20 years ago what had happened. So obviously there's a bunch of suspects, and so the stepson put together this documentary, kind of like a true crime series, and the way the book is written is really cool. It's documentary format, so it's written as a script, and then after each taping you get the public's reaction to what had happened. So throughout the whole book, you're going through, along with the cast members, trying to figure out what happened to Luke Ryder 20 years ago. I really liked the format of this book. What did it for me really was the ending. I didn't like the ending, and it kind of fell apart, and I felt like there were some plot holes at the end of the book that weren't really discussed. And things that you thought were going to be a bigger deal than they actually were, just based on how they were presented to you while they were making this documentary. So I think overall I'd probably give it like a 3.5 stars. Again, I really liked the format of it. It was really different, but once you get to the end, it kind of fell apart for me. All right, and next I read Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. This was my very first Ali Hazelwood book. Obviously I've heard a lot about her. People love her, and I liked it. I thought it was great. So we're following B, who is a neuroscientist and just gotten her dream project. So basically she's co-leading with a group of engineers trying to design these helmets for NASA. Very quickly, you realize in the book that her being a woman is causing some issues as far as people respecting her and her work and not really taking her seriously. So dealing with like some serious things, of course, at being a woman in STEM. Now, of course, there's a romance because it's Ali Hazelwood. So basically B is, like I said, the co-lead, and her other co-lead is Levi. And B knows Levi from her grad school days and he hates her. So it's kind of like this enemies to lovers sort of romance-ish. And B just kind of figuring out how to be a co-lead in the NASA environment, wanting to keep her dream job, and then dealing with everything, the sabotage that's kind of coming around because people are trying to sabotage her project, not wanting her to be the co-lead, and then Levi kind of being the only one that's supporting her. So we're just kind of following that. I really liked the writing style. It was an easy read. Like I said, I liked how Ali Hazelwood is covering, being a woman in STEM and real issues that pop up with that. I thought the romance was pretty sweet. Sometimes cheesy, but that's pretty much a given. The ending of this one kind of came out of left field. All of a sudden, it just like escalated. And I think that's where it sort of fell apart for me. Like I said, I really liked the book throughout it, but then getting to the ending, it just kind of seemed like I didn't really feel like it needed to be that dramatic. It just didn't really fit. I felt it didn't really fit with what was going on in the rest of the book. I think if you're going to have that much intense drama at the end of the book, then there should be a little bit of that happening throughout the book. But the drama in the middle of the book didn't really match how intense it got at the end. So she kind of lost me there, but I'll definitely check out some other Ellie Hazelwoods in the future because I thought it was cute and easy read. So definitely worth it. Overall, I think I gave this one like 3.5, 4 stars. All right, next up we have Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murders. I think this one would kind of fall in the cozy mystery category. This was a book that was chosen for one of my book clubs this month. I loved this book. I thought it was so cute. Following Vera, who is a tea shop owner in Chinatown in California, and she calls her tea shop Vera Wang's tea shop to try and get more publicity in. She ends up finding a dead body in her tea shop. And now prior to this, you know, her husband has passed, her son doesn't really talk to her, and so she's pretty much alone, and her tea shop is basically failing. She's got one customer that comes in religiously, and I honestly don't even think he pays. So she's just contemplating with how long is she gonna keep this up, this tea shop. And then she finds a dead body and she thinks like this is her moment. Like she's gonna make her tea shop famous, and she's also gonna solve the murder because the cops have no idea what they're doing, in her opinion. So it was really cute. There was a lot of chuckle moments. I listened to this one a little bit on audio, and then I read some of the physical book as well. So it was a very easy read, very cute. Like I said, with the cozy mystery, it's not really super intense. It's more like a amateur detective trying to solve what's happening. So it was really, really cute. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, chuckled a little bit. I was able to guess it pretty much almost immediately what had happened, but I think that's par for the course with something like that. So if cozy mystery is something you like, if you liked the Finlay Donovan series, if you've ever read that one, I think you would really enjoy Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murder. So 4 stars for this one, super cute. All right, next up we have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This one was so good. I know that the second one, I think it's Map of the Otherlands or Motherlands or something has just come out, and we're following in this first book a Cambridge professor, Emily Wilde, who basically researches the Fae. And she's in this small village, and her purpose is to find the hidden ones, who are like these mysterious Fae that no one's ever seen, people never really made contact with. But in this village, the townspeople are just disappearing, and they're basically being kidnapped by the Fae. She's kind of there to help the townspeople, but really she's there to work on her book. So she's just got like a pure research mindset. She's not there to make friends, she just wants to work on her book. While she's in this town that she's kind of having a hard time meshing with, so she's brilliant, but she's people awkward. So townspeople don't really love her. Her colleague Wendell shows up, and Emily has some suspicions about Wendell and his motives and things like that, and so she doesn't love that he's there, but they end up kind of working together to help Emily with her research. And the thing about Wendell is he's pretty charismatic, so Emily is really focused on the research and not really focused on the townspeople, and Wendell's kind of showing her that in order to find what she needs to also help out the townspeople and at least be nice to them. Overall, I loved the banter between Wendell and Emily in this. There wasn't like any cringy moments. It was just so cute, like the way they talk to each other and the banter back and forth. It's like just very cozy and whimsical, cute for like a winter read, but honestly you can read it whenever. Just very magical and wintry and whimsical. So I really liked this one. 4.5, 4.75 for sure. Highly recommend picking this up. All right, and the last one was The Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This is the one that I found on Kindle Unlimited. The whole series is on Kindle Unlimited, and it was advertised as a mafia romance. So I thought going into it, I would like it a lot more. You know, liking movies like The Godfather and The Gentleman and just things like that. I really don't know what happened in this book, to be honest with you. It was interesting, to say the least. Basically what happens is we're in Chicago, and we have 2 families, an Italian family an Irish family, and they're kind of like competing families, I guess, trying to take over Chicago, and they have a long history. Well, Ada, the youngest child in the Italian family, the Gallos, decides to crash a family that the Irish family, the Griffins, is putting on for their youngest daughter, and she goes with her brothers. So they're there crashing this fancy party, which, okay, just to be realistic for a second, if you are like a prestigious family with mafia ties, I don't think someone would be able to crash your party. Like, the whole thing is they get into this party because they like bribe the bouncer at the party, which I feel like you would have better security. I get it, it was for story purposes, but right off the rip, that just didn't seem realistic to me. Anywho, Ada and her brothers go to this party. Ada ends up going upstairs to the library. The oldest brother, Callum Griffin, is in the library, and Ada panics because she needs to leave. So instead of just waiting until he's done, she lights the curtains on fire and steals the grandfather's pocket watch and runs away. So Callum sees her, and then this ends up leading to an altercation where Callum brings his enforcer and beats up on Ada's brother, ending his pro basketball career. As a result, the heads of the family meet together and decide that Callum and Ada are going to get married, and they're going to have an arranged marriage to bring the two families together, so there's not like this all-out war in Chicago, because neither family really has the people or the muscle to back that up. Okay, wasn't too bad there. And then it just got like, I don't know, it was just kind of all over the place. And my problem with this one was I was never really rooting for them. I just kind of wanted to get the book. Like, I didn't love their romance. I think the idea of the book was cooler than the execution of the book, if that makes sense. I don't think I'll be checking out any of the other books in the series. It doesn't follow these two characters, it follows two other characters, so if anything, maybe I would read it to just see what it's like with other characters. I think I just found Ada annoying, and I didn't really like the male character, Callum, either. So I think when you don't like the characters and you're just following them throughout the entire book, I didn't like it. So I think I gave this one like 2.5 stars. It didn't really live up to my mafia romance dreams at all. So that's it. Those are the 5 books that I read in February. I didn't reach my 10 for my February TBR. I'm also halfway through Mistborn, Homeward, I think Berry Pickers too, which wasn't on my TBR, but we'll talk about that in March. So I started a bunch of books. I will not be doing that many books for my March TBR. You'll see that video next week, so make sure you're subscribed for that. But I definitely learned my lesson this month, because I feel like I read 5 books, 4 of them I kind of liked, and then I'm halfway through a bunch more. So I felt like February was all over the place for reading, so I've learned my lesson. I'm gonna make some changes for March. So again, make sure you're subscribed, stick around for March. Let me know in the comments below what books you read this month in February, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.